Hey, grade nines. Okay, so this is the last question I'm demonstrating for today. It's page 312, and I'm calling it fake 19. So again, this is based on the question in the textbook, but it's not identical. It's similar, but not identical. Okay. So hopefully through this demonstration, if you're struggling with question 19, you could take this video and help you solve it. The average amount of snow that falls in Calgary during a typical winter is 576. Well, we got a number there. So you get safe assumption that that number is probably fairly important. This snow is 42.8 less than twice the amount that Edmonton gets. Okay? So, what is the average amount of snowfall that Edmonton gets during a typical winter? Okay, so again, we're talking about relationships here. All right? We're talking about relationships. So, and there's a couple of ways you could approach this. You can kind of relate Calgary to Edmonton. So you could relate, let's just call this Calgary, abbreviated to Edmonton, in terms of figuring out which city should get the variable. Or you could relate Edmonton to Calgary. Okay? So let's just create a little header up here. So here's Calgary and here's Edmonton. All right? I'm using the actual official abbreviations for those cities. Okay, the average amount of snow that falls in Calgary during a typical winter is 576.8 millimeters. Okay, so we know how much snow Calgary gets. It's 576.8 millimeters. We know this, okay? This amount of snow is 42.8 less than twice the amount Edmonton gets. Okay. What is the average amount of snowfall that Edmonton gets? So we don't know how much Edmonton gets. So we could say let X equal the amount of snow Edmonton gets. All right. So that's going to be the amount of snow that Edmonton gets. Okay. Well, now the key is we've got to bridge the relationship, right? We've got to bridge the relationship between Edmonton and Calgary. So now I'm not going to use a question mark anymore. I actually have an official variable. So now we got to start dealing with this sentence here, okay? This last sentence is the key to the relationship. This amount of snow, this being the amount that Calgary gets, is 42.8 less than twice the amount Edmonton gets, okay? It's 42.8 less than twice the amount. All right. Now, if you are thinking about this, okay, you can kind of work this backwards in your mind. All right? You can work it backwards in your mind. So if the amount of snow that Edmonton gets is X, then if you relate this variable to the amount that Calgary should get, if we were to define how much snow Calgary gets twice as much snow as Edmonton. So this is Edmonton snow. We know that Calgary, it says it gets twice the amount that Edmonton gets, but also less 42.8. Okay, so I'm going to run through that again. I don't know how much snow Edmonton gets. Okay, there's my question mark again. I don't know how much snow Edmonton gets, but I do know the relationship of Calgary snow to Edmonton. Calgary, it says here in this last sentence, this amount of snow is 42.8 centimeters. I should have put millimeters there. Less than twice the amount Edmonton gets. So Calgary gets twice the amount that Edmonton gets. So 2 times X. But it's not just twice the amount. There's another little bit to it. Okay. That it gets 42.8 millimeters less than twice. Now, just a little heads up. When your teacher or problem doesn't put the units here, you're allowed to assume the units match, okay? I'm not trying to be clever or tricky. This is not kilometers, this is not meters, this is not centimeters. It was intended to be millimeters, and you get to make that assumption. And if you're ever confused, ask your teacher because they owe you this bit of information. Just a little heads up there. So Calgary gets 42.8 centimeters less, right? So this means less, subtraction. Calgary gets 42.8 centimeters less, or millimeters less, than twice the amount Edmonton gets. So this is the magic, the secret sauce, because now we've established the relationship. So in total, what could we say in terms of an equation? Well, one way, in a sense, now we can just compare Calgary to Calgary. In other words, I know that seems kind of crazy or counterintuitive, but look at it. On one hand, we know that Calgary gets 576.8 millimeters. On the other hand, we know that Calgary gets twice the amount that Edmonton does, less 42.8. Okay? And it's this relationship of comparing the same city to itself with the variable that is defined through Edmonton. That's how we're going to find out how much snow Edmonton gets. So in other words, we came at it from the left, we kind of came at it from the right. On one hand, Calgary gets 576.8 millimeters of snow every year. On the other hand, the relationship of Calgary to Edmonton is twice the amount of snow that Edmonton gets, less 42.8 millimeters. Okay. In essence, or the bottom line here is, you've got a two-step equation. And so it's solvable. What are we going to do? Well, I'm just going to switch this. Oh, let's go with this color. So we've got subtracting 42.8. What are we going to do? Add 42.8 to both sides, right? Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So 42.8. Okay, so this has the lovely effect. I hope I'm sounding like a broken record at this point. You want the zero pair here, all right? In your general formula, in the general form, when you have AX and it could be plus or minus B is equal to C, eventually you want that B to go away. So you use the opposite operation. The opposite of subtraction is addition. And now this is just, what are you just left with on the left side? You're left with 2x. Okay, I'm in the mood to do some long addition here. So that's 16, carry the 1, 6 and 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. There's my decimal point. Line up your decimals. 7 plus 4 is 11, and 1 is 6. So 619.6. All right. Well, this is the amount of snow that's represented by twice as much as Edmonton. So I'm not solving for the amount of snow that Edmonton gets as a twice amount. I want to just find out the amount, just the regular amount of snow. I don't want to find out twice the amount. I want to find out the amount. So why don't we divide both sides by 2? Okay? So we're going to divide both sides by 2. Of course, this reduces. It doesn't cancel to 0. Don't say that, please. It reduces to 1. 2 over 2. You guys know this. 2 over 2, right, is another way of saying 1. So 1x, but the 1 remains invisible. All right? This time, because it's late in the afternoon, I'm going to get my calculator and drag it over. So what am I doing here? I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to go 619.6 divided by 2. Now, of course, if I were rounding this, this would be 620, and 62 divided by 2 is 31. So this should be 310, 309.3 or something. Okay, let's figure it out. 309.8. Oh, right, because, yeah, you need the 8 to kick over the carry. That's a common mistake I make when I do those. Anyways, it's 309.8 millimeters. 309.8 millimeters. And that is our answer. Okay? So Edmonton gets 309.8 millimeters. Calgary gets twice this amount, less 42.8. Okay? So Calgary doesn't quite get twice the amount of snow Edmonton does. It gets twice the amount of snow Edmonton does, less 42.8. It's not quite that amount. And so we were able to accommodate that in our formula or equation. Formula, equation, kind of the same thing in this case. We established this relationship. Okay, on one hand, Calgary is defined by the information I just gave you, 576.8. Then over here, we were able to relate Calgary snowfall to Edmonton, and that's how we're able to solve. Okay? All right, hopefully that helped. And if you have any questions, as usual, catch me during office hours, drop me an email, get the help that you would like. Okay? Okay, thanks, grade 9s. Have a good day. Bye.